All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to dig deep. Literally. We're exploring the hidden world right beneath our feet. These powerful, invisible partnerships that pretty much make all life on Earth possible. Yep, we're talking about the incredible power of soil symbiosis.
You know, it all really starts with this one powerful idea. The ground you're walking on, it is not just dirt. Think of it more like a bustling city, a metropolis held together by these amazing alliances. And these aren't new partnerships. They're ancient, cooperative networks that sustain everything from the food on our plates to entire ecosystems.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? What is really happening in that dark, super complex world just a few inches below the surface? Well, let's pull back the curtain and uncover some of those secrets. Okay, first things first. We have to wrap our heads around this. These symbioses are the absolute foundation. I mean, they're the bedrock of healthy agriculture and whole ecosystems. You could even think of them as nature's original, super advanced biotech. And understanding these cooperative networks, well, that's the key to building a more resilient and regenerative world.
First up, let's talk about the original World Wide Web. And no, I'm not talking about the one on your phone. I'm talking about the Fungal Internet. It is this vast, living network made up of what we called mycorrhizal fungi. And their connection with plant roots is genuinely one of the most important relationships on the entire planet. And get this isn't some new development. This partnership is ancient. We are talking 400 million years of coevolution. Plants and fungi figured this all out way before we ever showed up. And it's a huge reason life was even able to move out of the water and colonize land in the first place. Pretty wild, right?
So these fungi basically operate in two main ways. You've got your arbuscular Mycorrhizae, or AM fungi for short. These guys actually go inside the plant's root cells. They're the go-to partner for most of our food crops, think wheat and rice, and they are absolute wizards at mining for phosphorus. Then you have the ectomycorrhizae, or ECM. They do things a bit differently. They form a sheath around the root tips of woody trees, like pine and oak, and their specialty is unlocking nitrogen from the soil.
But here's the thing. These fungi don't just feed plants. They are literal ecosystem engineers. They produce this incredible substance called glomalin. The best way to think of it is as a biological superglue. It binds all the tiny soil particles together, creating that beautiful, crumbly, healthy structure that holds water and, this is a big one, locks away carbon.
Now, fungi are amazing for sure, but they are not the only superstars down there. Let's meet the nitrogen fixers. So if you think of fungi as the miners and the networkers, then these bacteria, well, they're the alchemists. They perform what is basically a magic trick, turning thin air into the very building blocks of life.
That magic trick has a name, of course. It's called biological nitrogen fixation, and it's carried out by a special group of bacteria called Rhizobia. They have a very specific, exclusive partnership with legumes. So yeah, we're talking about plants like lentils, chickpeas, and soybeans.
But how do they do it? The air all around us is almost 80% nitrogen, but in that form, N2, it's completely useless to plants. So these bacteria, they have a secret weapon, an enzyme called nitrogenase. It's the only biological tool on Earth that can crack that super strong bond of atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into ammonia, which is a form the plant can actually absorb.
And the way this all gets set up is it's like a carefully orchestrated dance. First, the plant and the bacteria talk to each other with chemical signals to find one another in the soil. Then the plant actually builds a special little house right on its root, a nodule. The bacteria move in, and in exchange for sugars and a safe place to live, they get to work pumping out plant-available nitrogen. It is the perfect symbiotic contract. And the impact of this is just staggering. This natural process can add up to 200 kilograms of nitrogen to a single hectare of land every single year. That's an enormous amount of free, naturally produced fertilizer, which you can imagine could dramatically reduce our reliance on synthetic stuff. Okay, so we've got the fungal networkers and the bacterial alchemists, but the alliances don't stop there, not even close. There's a whole personal support team living right on and even inside a plant's roots. Think of them as bodyguards, growth coaches, and even personal doctors. This support team has two main groups. First are the plant growth-promoting rhizobacteria, or PGPRs for short. And yeah, they do exactly what their name says. They hang out right around the root, producing hormones that boost growth and secreting special molecules to grab essential nutrients like iron for the plant. Then you have the endophytes, which take it a step further and live inside the plant's tissues, acting like a living internal immune system. And this is where it gets really, really cool.
These endophytes can trigger something called induced systemic resistance. That's a fancy term, but here's what it means. It's basically a natural vaccination for the plant. Their presence primes the plant's entire defense system, making it more resilient and ready to fight off any future attacks from diseases or pests.
Okay, so the science is fascinating, right? We know these alliances are powerful. So what's the next logical question? Well, how can we actually work with them? How do we shift from just farming plants to, well, farming the entire soil microbiome?
Well, it really comes down to 3 core strategies. First, we can inoculate. That just means actively reintroducing these beneficial microbes to soils where they've been depleted. Second, smart crop rotations, especially including those legumes we talked about, help maintain a diverse and active microbial community. And third, and this is a big one, minimizing tillage is critical to protect those delicate fungal networks from being shredded to pieces.
And just as important is knowing what to avoid. Heavy tillage, like we just mentioned, physically destroys the fungal internet. But our chemical use is also a huge factor. Using too much phosphorus fertilizer basically tells the mycorrhizal fungi their services aren't needed and they just go dormant. It's the same deal with nitrogen. Add too much synthetic N, and the legumes stop building those little homes for the Rhizobia partners. The whole system just breaks down.
Now, one really promising tool for supporting these allies is Biochar. You can think of it as a luxury microbial hotel. Its superporous structure provides a massive surface area and stable housing for microbes, protecting them while also helping to hold on to the water and nutrients they need to thrive. It's like building them the perfect city to live in.
So what this all shows us is that an incredibly sophisticated technology already exists right beneath our feet. We don't need to invent it. We just need to learn how to work with it. And that leaves us with a final, pretty critical question. If the solutions we need for a more sustainable future are already here in the soil, are we finally ready to stop and listen?